feel like you're just thinking with your dick.
I've said I'm going to get to know him outside of this, Bianca.
I don't want to speak to you right now because I feel like whatever you've got to say is irrelevant to me currently. Just deserves so much fucking better, and I'm done.
Normally, I would make a comment about my clip or about the review before I start, but because I think Bianca was treated unjustly by JJ, the experts worked with the information that they had that JJ gave them, so I cannot blame them for how JJ behaved. But because of the way he behaved, I will let Bianca's words be her final, my opening piece for this review. Anyway, hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's Valerie. Welcome back to my channel. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight UK, Season 8, Episode 21. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. We're still trying to get to 1,000 subs. Tell a friend to subscribe. Click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. I think if you look up the word selfish, you will find Peggy and Ella's faces with JJ right next to that word. But anyway, I digress. So you have all the couples sort of reminiscing on the events of the, dinner party and how everything went. And, some people are concerned that Nathaniel and Bianca are the aggrieved, and the fact that they are the innocent parties in all this. And then you have some saying, oh, Ella came in this. She was looking for someone who was attracted to her. She was looking for the attention from her spouse and didn't get it from Nathaniel, so she got it from elsewhere. And my opinion is this. Yes, Ella had certain things she wanted from her partner. So did Nathaniel. That does not give her a right, irregardless of how good or how bad Bianca's relationship was, for her to, because she's not getting what she wants from her partner, to suddenly go after somebody else's partner. That is not right. That is not right. Whether or not Bianca and JJ were happy, whether or not they were not compatible, that is not her space to say, I am doing what's best for me. Because she then meets up with JJ and says, oh, I'm doing what's best for me. I can't put Bianca's needs before mine. And it's like, yes, you can. Yes, you can. That is a married woman. If that was in the real world, would you break up somebody's marriage just because they're not happy? Make it make sense. I don't get it, and I don't get why people are excusing her behavior. It's unacceptable. Irregardless of how Nathaniel treated her, there was no reason for her to suddenly go after JJ because JJ is showing her interest, and there was no reason for JJ to suddenly entertain Ella without first addressing his issues with Bianca. He knew he wasn't attracted to Bianca from the wedding day. Why didn't he refuse to marry her? Or why didn't he refuse to recommit at the commitment ceremony? Why would he commit? I said this before. Ella's there for publicity. As much fame as she can get from this, she will milk it. JJ is there for as much fame as he can get, and he'll milk it because he's got his brand that he wants to push, and Ella, God knows whatever she's pushing. And then you have Peggy and George having a conversation, and everyone can see that George has sort of remodeled himself to suit what Peggy needs. And so for him suddenly now, week 4, week 5, to suddenly say that, he feels he's lost himself. Well, we all saw that the moment you wrote the apology letter after she kicked off because you said you were happy for her to do whatever she wanted to do with her body, you decided to conform and sort of remodel or revamp yourself so that you could stay in this marriage, so that you could stay on the show. So the idea that now suddenly you want to speak up, you want to find a voice, I don't get it. I think they're just looking for drama because they've realized that they're now being lost in the mix. I have a feeling that people at times create drama so that they can be the standout stars from the show, not because there's any issues, but because they want to be the standout. And because there are so many couples in the experiment, they don't want to be lost sort of in the mud. They want to be the standout or the breakout stars. That's my opinion of people like Ella and JJ, including George and Peggy. So then all the couples go for the recommitment ceremony, and first up we have Mark and Sean. You know how I feel about Mark and Sean. I feel Mark needs to sort of put in some effort as well. Everything shouldn't be left to Sean because otherwise he's going to get tired. Anyway, they are the first couple called up, and I'm happy that they spoke their truth, in the sense that they did speak about the fact that Sean was immediately attracted to Mark, but Mark said he wasn't feeling it. But he has realized that Sean, he didn't say he wasn't feeling it. He just said, well, at first there was a bit of pause for concern, but I realized that, Sean has all the qualities that I need in a partner, which is very good. And so they also brought up about the issue on the honeymoon, which I am grateful that this is the thing where you find married at first sight works, in the sense that if you're willing to put in the work and if you're open to getting to know your partner and giving them a chance, you'll actually be surprised with the person that, you've been matched with. That person might be someone you might overlook in the real world, but given the experiment, if you give them a chance, you might have a happy wedding, which will last for years and years to come. That was amazing. Next up is Peggy and George. I'm going to try and not be sarcastic, but hey, it is what it is. Okay, so, we all know that last week was a hard time for them, given what happened with Terence and Portia after George tried to go hard at Portia to sort of try and embarrass and humiliate her, especially when she made the comment about George being excited after seeing Peggy's boobs for the first time in 3 weeks. And so this week, I think, yes, they had this sob story, but I think it was to revamp them as a couple, because last week when they came to the recommitment ceremony, the goal was to revamp Peggy after how they realized that everybody had turned against them as a couple. And I think when they realized that people had decided to forgive Peggy, then they decided to bring in George today to sort of allow the other participants to feel sorry for him and welcome him back into the fold. That's my opinion, because they go on to the sob story about how George, feels he's been holding himself back. He's been trying to be this person that Peggy wants, and somehow he feels rejected because Peggy is not being sort of intimate with him physically. And it's like, well, Portia called it. She said, I'm not jealous of you just because you want me to be jealous because your boyfriend is excited for seeing your boobs for the first time after 3 weeks. No. And so I think this was all just a sob story. This was just something for them to talk about. We all know, I don't think there's a physical attraction there. I don't think so. I think they have just decided to keep this train going until the end. And once it ends, that's it. But I think they've just decided, they tried to be the breakout stars by, trying to hold everybody accountable, and that backfired. And so now I think Peggy and George realized after last week that if the participants can despise them so much for how they behaved at the dinner party, then the viewers must actually be worse. So I think they came up with a sob story about lack of intimacy and how George feels insecure. Oh God, we also George's clip when he started, there's nothing there that says you'd feel insecure. He can find somebody else if Peggy declines him. So I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Whoever else is buying it, good for you, but I am not buying it. I think it was a sob story just to get sympathy from the other participants and the experts, and to allow people to feel sorry for them, because last week nobody clapped for them and this week people were clapping for them. I'm not buying it. I really am not. Anyway, they both decide to stay, just like Mark and Sean. So hey. Oh my God, my favorite couple. Well, one of my top three, Thomas and Ross. They look cute. They're dressed smart casuals. Thomas is not as formally dressed as he normally would. They look very relaxed. And so they're called up next. And it's cute to see because how embarrassed they are. They're sitting very close. It's not Ross sort of saying, oh, I have to sit next to him, otherwise I'll be told off. She just naturally sort of sits right next to him and he has his arm around her shoulders. And even the experts are excited for them because they can see that they are growing as a couple. They are more comfortable around one another, which is cute to see. And so even though they haven't played up their relationship, they've gone at their own pace and they've sort of put blinders to what's going on around everybody. They haven't been performative like people like Peggy and George. I like the fact that they are the type of participant I look forward to in Married at First Sight. Someone who goes in the experiment for the right reason, someone who's looking for a life partner, someone who's willing to do anything and everything to make their relationship work. And it's evident in how they've grown. And Roz owns up that, her parents coming and sort of them liking what they see really gave her confidence in her relationship because she values their opinion. And so this was good for her. Thomas says his friend was happy for him. He felt he was very comfortable. There were two very broken people that were brought together and had their guards up. And finally, as I said, I wish they would let their walls down. They've let their walls down and they've realized that, oh, I'm matched with actually an amazing person. So the interesting thing was Ross said, when they were asked about intimacy, she said, Thomas says it's been going, but it's not as frequent as, they would like it to be. Ross is like, well, I want toys, but I don't know whether Thomas, will be petrified. And everybody laughs because, he has this air of innocence around him and you wouldn't expect him to do anything crazy. Reminds me of Paul, but Tasha says Paul is dirty. So it was nice to see them have this open and honest conversation. This is one thing about Thomas and Ross. They'll never be performative. They'll always be honest about where they are, what they're doing, what they want to do. They will always be receptive of feedback and they take that feedback, go home and put it to practice. And this is why their relationship is growing. I think if there's any couple that I can see working after the experiment, if we were getting a true reflection of their relationship, Ross and Thomas are right at the top. And they don't brag about their relationship. They don't brag about their connection, unlike other people who want everybody else to see where they are and where they stand. So I'm happy that they both chose to stay. And I'm happy that Thomas is open to the idea of toys. And Paul was saying, Ross, bring all of them out, cover the whole table and show Thomas and let him pick what he wants to use. And it's like, oh my God, I can't wait for next week's commitment ceremony to hear what they've decided to do. I love them. I really am one of their biggest fans and I hope they stay married because I think they will actually have a lasting relationship because they have built their foundation from the ground up. They have done the work. Next up is Adrian and Matt. I like Adrian and Matt thus far. I think they are very good at minding their own business in the sense that they focus on the reason that they're in the experiment and they choose not to involve themselves in other people's drama. It's only week 2, so we'll see what happens. They do talk about the fact that they're both child carers. I said this last week, so that's something that bonds them. They have this ability to care, to love, to empathize that they haven't been able to find in their previous partners, Adrian says. And so that's their common bond and that they're very grateful for. They talk about the incident on the honeymoon, obviously, with Adrian saying that, Matt felt she was very show-offy. He's a nice person. So it's just a matter of them sort of adjusting and learning to find what triggers the other person. Well, that's the impression I got. I think they're doing great. I think they are. I think they're not focused on showing off in regards their relationship, unlike other people. And the moment they said, their physical intimacy was great, you could see the look on George and Peggy's faces, and you could also see Ella. There is this sort of envy in their looks, in the sense that this is something that they want in a partner, but they haven't been able to get. And for me, I think, Peggy is her biggest enemy. If she can relax and let go, if she's not feeling George, then she needs to tell him. If she is, then she needs to let go. So Ella, I have nothing. I'll comment when we come to Ella. Anyway, they both choose to stay. Am I surprised? No. They would have chosen to stay, and I hope they stay in their bubble. I hope they don't suddenly involve themselves in the drama that's going on around them. If they're really after a relationship, then they don't need to get involved just for the sake of getting involved. If fans are going to like them, they will like them as they are as a couple. Next up is Ella, and my thought is, why? Why is she still in the experiment? If Portia had to go home because Terrence wanted to leave, why is Ella still in the process? Anyway, I am appreciative because it gave Bianca the opportunity. Bianca is on a warpath. Oh my God. I like the way she is reading Ella and JJ for Feld, because she discloses that Ella was the first person to text JJ. It wasn't the other way around. And they try to make it seem like, oh, we weren't allowed to say anything. We weren't allowed. I don't know whether the producers didn't allow them to say anything because they wanted the drama or the smoke. And I know that Jordan has sort of Bianca's best interest at heart, but Personally, I feel, this is how I feel, I think he should have sat down and kept his mouth quiet like everybody else. I think he should have minded his own business. I think this is why people have issues with them. I know everybody has their opinions about Tasha, because you have Erica and sort of Jordan trying to speak up for Bianca, and it's like, Bianca, I think, is closer friends with Roz than she is with you two. And yet Roz is there and she's allowing Bianca to speak for herself and sort of fight her own battle. Why do the two of you feel the need to sort of speak up? And then you have Look, yeah, he's my favorite couple. He's also speaking up for JJ. And it's like, I wish everybody else had kept quiet and allowed Ella, JJ, and Bianca to sort of address this beef or address what's going on. Because Ella, I think, in my opinion, Ella, once Nathaniel left, thought she would stay in the experiment with JJ. And the fact that Paul has told her that it's time for you to go home, she wasn't expecting that, because you could see with the look on her face that she was shocked. And I'm happy that they've sent her home, especially given what happened last season, whereby they had a couple that decided to stay after rematching. I think they wanted to nip that in the bud. I think they wanted to stop people entering the experiment to find themselves a partner instead of the partner that the experts matched them with. The fact that Ella tried to apologize, I think she apologized because she got caught, and I think because Bianca was holding her feet to the fire. I don't think she was apologetic for her behavior. That I don't believe, because when she sat down, she said, oh, well, even if I go, I'm happy because I found the person I was looking for. And it's like, I don't think JJ is it for you. I don't think it. I think it only takes another person that JJ thinks looks way better than you for him to move on. Nathaniel wanted a deeper connection. This man only likes the superficial. And once your looks fade, he's going on to the next person. So he's going to jump your bones. If he likes it, he'll stay. If he doesn't, he's going to move on. And that's the impression that I get. And I think JJ and Ella thought they were going to stay on the show, or they must have been promised by the producers that they would stay on the show, only for the experts to say no to Ella. So we'll see how that plays out. Well, next up is Laura and Arthur. What do I think? I think Laura and Arthur are a good match. I think Arthur has surprised Laura. Yes, English is not his first language, so at times he does sort of make mistakes, I think, in the translation, trying to sort of translate from his native language into English. So you can't fault him for that. They talk about the fact that their friends came and what their friends observed in their relationship. And it's cute to see that Laura has realized that it's not just the Chelsea boys that are good for her. If she opens her heart and if she allows herself time to get to know Arthur, he might surprise her. And it's really been a revelation for her, in the sense that he just cares for her. He doesn't ask for anything. He doesn't expect anything from her. He's just, wants her to show up as herself, and he will accept her for that. So that was cute to see. I really love that for her, for Laura. I hope they continue to be genuine, because she might be pleasantly surprised. Yes, he's not as sophisticated as she's used to. Yes, he's not as highly educated as she's used to, but he is loving, he's caring, he's compassionate, and he has the patience that she needs in a partner. So I wish them all the best, and I hope they really work out. Next up is one of my favorites again, Tasha and Paul. And you can already sense that, it's going to be one of those commitment ceremonies. And I like the fact that Paul said, we ourselves as a team have been amazing. It's just there's been drama outside of us that has sort of brought some tension into our relationship, but we are still good. We're still cooking with gas. And so then it's brought up about the Erica situation. And Tasha says, she felt some type of way because Erica has just come into the experiment, and yet she's bragging that they are the strongest couple. She doesn't know everybody else. She doesn't know what everybody else has been through. That this is just me speaking from my own personal point of view. So she doesn't know how all the couples, what the struggles are that they've had to overcome to get to where they are, or how strong their connection was when they first started. So the fact that she would come in and she would expect suddenly from one sort of conversation, she would suddenly express that they are the strongest couple. This got on Tasha's nerves. And I know for a fact it must have gotten other people's nerves, but the fact that they kept quiet doesn't mean they don't feel some type of way. And for Tasha to say, I'm not the only person who feels some type of way, and Erica then to say, oh, shut up. Whether or not she was trying to stop Tasha from speaking, regardless, the way she said what she said is what provoked Tasha. People might want to blame Tasha for whatever. Tasha did not tell Erica to say shut up. Erica said shut up. Shut up is disrespectful. I know someone in the comments said no, Erica was trying to stop Tasha from talking. She could have said stop involving other people if you're not going to mention their names. But she used the word shut up because she knows it's a trigger word for some people. It's disrespectful. Nobody wants to be told to shut up when you're an adult. So I get where Tasha was coming from. And so for Erica to say she's new, well, if you knew and if you know you're new, why did you have an opinion about people you did not know? Why didn't you have an opinion about yourself and your partner as a couple instead of involving other people? And the fact that she's talking about, oh, Tasha was rolling her eyes, but she is busy rolling her eyes in the commitment ceremony when Tasha's speaking. Make it make sense. I think Erica came in thinking they would be the lovey-dovey couple, they would be the breakout stars. And when she came in and she realized that actually there are other couples that are functioning very well, she decided to sort of pronounce it as a statement or as a matter of fact that her and Jordan are the strongest couple. And when other people didn't buy it, this is what sort of irritated her. And I think Tasha was irritated by the fact that Erica came into the experiment without knowing anybody else and decided to judge other people's relationships and deem them to be the most successful couple. And I think this is why Tasha decided to be outspoken. I'm happy that Paul said, I've always got my wife's back because I know who she is. He's been in this experiment with Tasha for 5 weeks. Tasha has never said anything derogatory about him. She's never disrespected him in any way. She's never done anything to hurt him. Erica, on the very first day she met her husband, she was already criticizing his hair. She was criticizing ABC. So the idea that suddenly Erica is the victim, Erica is one of those people who will say something malicious, or she comes across as one of those people that will say something malicious and then will sit back and pretend to be innocent. I don't buy what she's selling. To whoever buys what she's selling, good for you. But I feel like the longer she stays on the show, the more we're going to see of who she actually is. She can only hide it for so long. And sadly, Tasha bit. And I think Erica had a problem with Tasha because I remember on the day at the outing when Tasha said, I got bad vibes, Ella said exactly the same thing, but Erica didn't have a problem with that. Why did she not have a problem with that? Why didn't she tell Ella to shut up? Why did she decide to pick on Tasha? Make that make sense to those that are defending Erica. Why did she only target Tasha? Why didn't she also say anything to Ella? Because Ella and Tasha were saying exactly the same thing. Make it make sense. Oh my God. So next up is Erica and Jordan. And I am here for Paul, the expert. I'm here for him because they start to speak and then, Erica wants to bring in, Tasha. And he said, no, let's focus on the two of you as a couple and see where you are because this is your first full week. And so he is right to say, so they were barely there for a week before she started judging everybody else and saying their relationship was amazing in their first honeymoon week. Make it make sense. Anyway, so they say they're doing very well. They say whatever happened with the girls, brought them closer. And Jordan feels he was able to step up and really be supportive of her. And for me, it's like, okay. Let's give it 2-3 more weeks. We've got a couple of weeks more of the experiment. Let's see how the two of you go. Let's see what happens when Tasha steps aside. And let's see what else the two of you will have to talk about. Because I think they're going to milk this Tasha issue till the end, where they're not saying anything about Ella. Ella was also involved in this debacle. I will repeat, why are they not saying anything about Ella? Are they afraid of the backlash that they'll be picked on to say that why are they picking on Ella because she's LGBTQ or what? That's my opinion. So I think they're going to milk the Tasha fight for as long as they can because it will give them publicity. And if Tasha were to take a seat back and just ignore them, let's see what else they have to talk about, because they didn't really say anything much about their connection and what they've done or how they're growing as a couple that I could grasp. Next up is Jay and Luke. I really like Jay and Luke as a couple. Obviously there've been some issues with Jordan, but I like them as a couple. I like the fact that they've always focused on one another and what makes the two of them happy. Obviously there was the hiccup during, family visits where they're sort of talking about what happens after the experiment, in the sense that they live 4 hours apart, and how will they be able to sort of continue as a couple. They both are not sort of willing to move. Well, Jay is more willing to move than Luke. Luke is not willing to move at all. It's just Jay's sister who's worried about Jay moving and what that will look like. And so I like the fact that the experts told them that you need to understand whether you have feelings that are strong enough to sustain a long distance relationship, or are long enough for you to are strong enough to allow you to move because you have this strong bond with someone, or you've really fallen in love. So I like the idea that they're sort of they've built their foundation and are trying to see where to go with this set foundation. I don't know. I think they could work. I think they've shown that they can work. Obviously, Luke has his opinion about certain things that need to be changed. And I think, sadly, Jay might not have Jay sort of lacks a skill that he needs to sort of hold him accountable. I think Jay is one of those people that are non-confrontational. And so the idea that she would stand up to Luke when he makes comments like he did about, Ella, or the comments that he did about JJ and Bianca. I think if it was somebody else, like Portia, like Tasha, even Erica, they would have held his feet to the fire and sort of asked him to explain himself. But Jay, I think, is someone who's non-confrontational, somebody who just likes keeping the peace, so she's not going to hold him to account for that. The experts do see that there is a relationship that's worth building. They're happy for them as a couple, and so they encourage them to focus on their relationship and not what happens after the experiment. And then, yes, I sort of agree and disagree. I think there needs to be planning for after the experiment, but also I think they shouldn't let that hinder their progress. So they still need to continue to work as a couple. They need to still continue on their relationship while they're considering what to do once they leave the experiment. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know whether that makes sense. Anyway, they both chose to stay, which is good for them. But I think Luke was kicked out of the process. I saw that in the paper somewhere. Hopefully we'll find out why, or we'll get to see how that sort of came about. Lastly, it's Bianca and JJ. I think JJ is an ass. I know I promised when I started my channel reviews that I wouldn't use any derogatory terms to describe these people, but I have to use this because I think he's shown a lot of disrespect towards his partner. I give it to Bianca for calling him out to say, you knew that you liked women that looked like Ella, but you said you wanted something different, knowing you'd never change, knowing that you'd never give something different a chance. So why did you ask for it, knowing that you weren't ready for it, or you weren't prepared to put in the work? And for him to say, I didn't know, I just, wanted to try. You can't try with somebody's feelings. You can't try with somebody's emotions. That's not good enough. I like the fact that Paul called him out and sort of asked him, what do you think it takes to make a relationship work? And he said time and patience. And you were told you didn't give Bianca time. You weren't patient with Bianca. He said it from the start. As soon as he saw Bianca, he said he was disappointed. He chose to stay in the experiment just because he wanted the exposure. And I give it to the experts for holding his feet to the fire. The fact that he was asked that, what is it about Ella that you like? And he just said, oh, there's just something there. What is the something? What is the something? What is it? Tell us what it is. Oh, I feel drawn to her. I like the fact that she's compassionate, she's empathetic, she's caring. She motivates me to be my best self. She brings up my best qualities. Something. No, he couldn't say anything. And for Ella, she says, oh, he makes me feel good about myself, and he's the first guy who's made me feel like I was a real girl. And it's like, how? What, you get giddy? That's not good enough, though. A relationship does not last on you being giddy about your partner. There needs to be more to that connection. I like the fact that Bianca was on smoke. She dragged JJ. Ella dragged Ella, and Ella tried to sort of, oh, you can't stop me from talking because you intervened. No, Bianca is the scorned one, so you have to sit there and take it because you brought yourself into the situation. Nobody asked you to be in this. You brought yourself in it, so you have to deal with it. And I have to say kudos to the experts for kicking them out for telling Ella and JJ that the two of you will have to work on your relationship, but away from the cameras, away from the show. You have to do it elsewhere. And I give them credit for that, because they are trying to sort of keep the integrity of the experiment alive, in the sense that if they keep allowing people to sort of couple with other people in the process, then people are just going to continue to say yes on wedding day and come into the process and look for their life partner or who they think they should have been matched with in the process. So I give them a lot of credit for kicking them out. They deserve to be kicked out. They really did. And so I don't know. We'll see how that plays out. Well, I normally don't follow people once they leave the experiment, so I don't know. If someone can comment later on and tell me what's up with Ella and JJ, I'm not going to follow them up to find out what's happening with them unless I come across it somewhere. I'm never going to look it up, and I'm never going to do a review about it, just because I think they're two people who are physically attracted to one another. And I think once that physicality fades, that relationship is going to break down. So it's only a matter of time. We'll start the clock and let me know when it ends, because I don't think that's going to be a lasting relationship, because there's nothing there to say to me that they have a lasting connection. So we'll see how it plays out. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, and click on the link in my video to watch my review from episode 20.